Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we're back with another slime video. And this one is one that I've been sitting on for a while, and I can't really explain to you why it's taken me so long to make it. I kept avoiding it because I wasn't really sure how to go about making the video, even though it's a very simple topic. Today's video is talking about character traits, and how you get them, where to see them, what they do. And I have no idea why it's just taken me this long. I've just procrastinated it for some reason. So I apologize. And I had a script written out, but I'm pretty much going to say fuck the script, and we're just going to go willy-nilly on this video. So, what are character traits? Well, let's go down to a level 80 unit down here like a Veldora. So if we go into the skills, we see that we have a secret skill, which is the alt. We have the 2 battle skills that you can use in-game, and that is it. But if you go into a level 84 character like Hinata, you will see that we have a secret skill, we have 2 battle skills, and we have a trait. Traits are only unlocked once you reach, 5-star rank, and you put a dupe into them. So you are at 5 stars, and you have another awakening star over here. So you're minimum level 84 before your character will ever see a trait activated in their passive. But they are passive abilities. So let's go back to Hinata and read her traits. So she gets, when your troop contains 3 or more battle characters, she increases her own secret skill gauge by 12% at the start of battle. Available in support formation. So, if you have 3 mainline units going into the fight, which if you're playing the game right, you should, because you should have 3 people on the front and 2 people in the back, and this means if you have 3 people in the front, then Hinata will get an additional 12% to her ultimate gauge, just for funsies, just automatically. And I'll put a video of that, of us going into a fight right now, and showing you that little percentage boost that we have. But it also says available in support formation. So if we go into a team, let's take a look at my light team. So here, Hinata is a battle unit. If we enter the fight with this, we have Hinata, Miran, and Shizu as 3 battle characters, which fulfills the requirement for Hinata. So Hinata will get 12%. But if we were to swap Hinata and her support character, Dark Milim, because the wording says available in support formation, this 12% that Hinata gets in her trait also applies to Dark Milim. Now, Dark Milim has her own trait, which, let's pull that up. And it is when your troop contains 3 or more battle characters, so again, the same kind of outline that Hinata has, increases the protection gauge by 11 at the start of battle, available in support formation. So, Hinata can give either herself or Dark Milim 12% ultimate gauge, flat out. Milim can give you, the player, 11 points of the protection gauge at the start of battle, flat out. So even though they're 2 separate characters in one slot, they are activating 2 separate traits, and this works for all, technically 6, of your battle units up front, plus your protector, so 7 skills, because the protector at level 84 also has a trait. Now, the traits that protector units have are not, they're a little bit more specific, and most of the time not as effective as some other units' traits. This one is when 3 vanguards have 50% or more HP, increases your crit resistance by 15% at the start of turn. Now this applies, whenever everyone has over 50%. If one of them falls under, then sorry, it's gone. And swapping a character in does not work because it happens at the start of turn. So if you have 2 people at 100% health and 1 person at 25% health, you don't have this. If you swap in that 25% health for someone else who has 100%, you're still not going to get it because you did not start the turn with everyone with full health. So just pointing that out. The next turn, if no one falls below 50%, then it will activate again. But it does not activate after swapping on the current turn. So, you have 7 traits that could be active at the beginning of a fight, if, every single one of these units is at least level 84. The units in the back, these 4 units, have their own traits, but they will not come into effect when you start the fight, because they are not active participants in the battle. They are sitting in the back waiting to be subbed in, therefore their traits do not count. Now, if you do swap them in, and then you wait a turn, or a turn happens, or you fulfill one of their requirements, because some of them are quite dumb, then their traits can activate if they're on the front line. But they generally, actually no, they don't generally, they won't activate if they're in the back. Now, let's pull up the list of traits that the Google Drive has, and you'll see it's quite long. It is quite long, and not all of these traits are created equal. Some of them are only usable after launching a full 6-hand combo of a certain color. Some of them have HP requirements, some of them have turn requirements. Let's see. Unleash a 6 combo with greens. When one or more enemies are affected by defense down. When affected by guard rate up. Let's go down. When one or more enemies are affected by defense up. Some of them are annoyingly specific, and traits that I wouldn't worry about too much. There are only really 3 traits in the game on battle units that you should really concern yourself with, because of the power that it can bring the start of turn for your team. And that, one of them, is Hinata's, boost your ultimate gauge by X amount. The faster you get to an ult, the faster you can do damage, the faster you can have other things happen. So, that is one of the most powerful ones. It's a little bit rare, and Hinata right now has the highest percentage gain on it. There are characters who, instead of getting it at the start of turn, or at the start of the fight, they get it after 3 turns, but it's a smaller amount, but you can continually get it if the fight progresses. 3 turns, 6 turns, 9 turns, you can keep getting additional boosts to your gauge. Sometimes those can work in your favor, sometimes not. It is how you choose to play and how long the fight's going to go. Like, I would not use that trait generally in the Orc of Disaster or Golem fight, because it's not going to go over 6 turns, and you generally need an ult by turn 6. So, it could work out. It's very possible that it could play in your hand. Most of the time it won't, though. So having it start at the start of the fight is much better, hence Hinata has a better skill than the turn by turn one. Now, the second skill that is one of the most powerful would be Valentine's skill. Where is she, though? There she is. I personally don't have a dupe in Valentine, therefore I don't have access to her trait. I could put a dupe in her. I have enough soul crystal thingy bobbers, but I don't really feel like it. But we can go to the effect list, and we can see when your troop contains 3 or more battle characters, increases your skill points by 4 or 6 at the start of battle. So these are your start of turn green skill points that allow you to use skills that, allow you to orb change or stun dodge or boost your defense. Having more points at the start of the fight is very powerful. Now, you'll notice that there are 2 skills here. I didn't talk about that yet. Everyone has a trait when they hit level 84, when you have 1 dupe at 5-star level. You can boost the power of that trait when you get 3 dupes in a character at level 92. It doesn't change the overall effect of the trait. It will remain the same, but the amount or the power, the percentages will go up. So instead of the 4 points at level 84, you now have 6 points at level 92. Let's see, Dark Milim is maxed out. So if we were to go into Awaken and Effect List, at level 84 she gets 7 points for her protection gauge, but since we have her above level 92, she gets 11. That applies to every trait. Every single character has a level 84 trait and a level 92 trait. And it's all a matter of putting dupes into your units. So, if you ever find yourself asking the question, who should I put dupes into? My first answer would be the characters you use the most. The characters who bring the most to your teams. If you are focused on a dark team, probably level up your dark characters. If you're focused on a wind team or a light team or the fire team, level up those main characters first, because the stronger your team is, the better it can go. Now, if that's all done, and you're looking for other units to put dupes into, because you have excess, or you're like me and you pull nothing but dupes, then start looking at units that can bring more usability. So, more protection gauge, more skills, more ultimate boosts. Maybe look at those units as well. Now, I'm not saying throw all your dupes into like a 3-star, because their trait is kind of good. Like, no, you still want to dupe out your 5-stars, most importantly. They're the strongest units in the game for a reason. They're hard to find, they're hard to pull. I know that very well. But 5-stars generally have better traits than what 3-star characters do. Now, where was I? This is why I had a script, so I wouldn't get lost like this. Okay, we talked about the levels of traits. Oh, the first most important trait that I consider, is the protection gauge trait, like Dark Milim, like Gazel Dorgo. Where is that mofo? Here he is. So his trait, 3 or more characters, increases your protection gauge by 11. So you notice that he and Dark Milim have the same trait. Earth Milim also has 3 more characters, increases your protection gauge by 11. So that's already 3 characters that can individually boost your protection gauge by 11 points. And all 3 of them, if they're on the front line, will take effect, which means that you have an extra 33 points just between those 3 units. And I don't have hard numbers on how many, points it takes to fill up a gauge, because I don't think it's 100. But I will show you here, right here on screen, that I can start out a fight with almost a full, like a half meter of a protector, which, if you're in a very difficult Extreme Conquest fight, is very necessary to survive, because if you don't have guard from the protector by turn 2, your units are going to die. They're just going to die. Take the Earth Milim state, or the Space Milim Conquest. She boosts her Pierce turn 1 after you've done everything, and if turn 2 comes around and you still don't have guard up, someone's going to die. Most likely she's going to send all 4 attacks on 1 card and you're going to die. So I consider the protection gauge increase the most powerful of traits right now for what I need to use my teams for. Some people really favor having extra skill points. That's totally fine. That's, totally dependent on your playstyle. Some people favor ult rushing more, which there's not too many units that can really do that. I mean, those are more useful for having like orb changers and, Protector Xion or the Oracle Disaster or Ifrit that really boost up how you can get ult gauge. But it's definitely a useful skill. Now, we can go down here and we can go to... let's go... Oh, my building is done. Let's go to Guy. What is his trait? Because I don't have it unlocked, and I don't even know what it is. When your troop contains 3 or more battle characters, increase the protection gauge by 4, and then by 6 every 3 turns. So, like what I was talking about earlier with the ultimate gauge, there are start of turn buffs, and there are incremental 3-turn buffs. So instead of getting, 11 points at the start of battle when you're maxed out, you get 6 every 3. Which can work to your advantage depending on how you play and how your luck turns out and where you're sitting at your blue gauge at the start of turn 3 and turn 6. It can be helpful. Space Rimuru has, I believe, the same effect. And if you couple that with 3 other units that can boost your protection gauge at the start of turn, that means turn 3, you have a lot of protection gauge. Yep, 3 by 6 every 3 turns. There you go. So, I believe that's all I want to cover. We've covered, how to get traits, what levels you need to be at, what do they do. I will have a link to that Google Drive in the video description. That way you can look at every single trait in the game. I believe, as of recording this, there are 69 individual traits, but you double that number because each of them has, a level 84 and a level 92 effect. So it's double that. We've talked about my personal favorite traits is the alt gauge boost, the skill point boost, and the protection boost. And I believe that I've shown you images of all those skills being in effect either turn 1 or turn 3. So I think that's it for the video. Sorry it took so long. If you have additional questions, please put them in the comments. If you're in the Discord or you haven't joined the Discord and you have questions about traits, go ahead and join or post the question there. I'll be happy to answer them. I'm not quite sure this video is as thorough as I wanted it to be, but here we are. Hopefully it helped some of you out. Hopefully it answered a few of the older players' questions as well. Who knows? Let me know in the comments. But for now, take it easy, guys, and I'll see you later.